What is up, people? Welcome back. Wait, man, I messed it up. I was supposed to do, what was I supposed to do? I was gonna do a completely different intro. I was gonna do a different intro, guys. It was gonna be, oh man, I don't know what it was gonna be, but I was gonna say something, and then it was gonna be a song. Oh my god, I don't have a voice today. This is my first time talking today, guys. It is 6 a.m. Hold on. Me. Oh my god, don't ever put me in freaking singing classes. Should I drink water? That's a good idea, right? Hold on. Give me a sec, guys, while I take a sip of this hydration. While I'm drinking this water, go drink some water yourself. Hello. Okay. Hello, people of Earth. My name is Natalia, and you are listening to ThirdEyeCyphs. Okay, so before I get into the good stuff, because are we getting into the good stuff? How are you? How are you doing? Every time my aunt calls me now, because apparently she listens to my podcast now. How exciting. She's always like, how are you? Like how I ask you guys, and ask me the same questions I ask you guys about drinking water, taking care of ourselves. So anyways, how are you guys? Are you good? I'm glad you're good. If you're not good, ask yourself why you're not good. Why are you not good? Why are you not happy? This is the main thing, guys. If you're not happy in life, ask yourself, why aren't you happy? Like, what in your life is not making you happy? What are you not happy with? Are you not happy with your living situation? Are you not happy with your job situation? Are you not happy with your partner? Or if you live with them, or even if you don't live with them? Like, are you not happy in the relationship? Are you not happy with the friends that you've been surrounding yourself with? Are you not happy with the family you've been surrounding yourself with? Are you not doing the things that fulfill you, or doing the things that you want to do because of, I don't know, external circumstances? Where is the source of your unhappiness? But if you are happy, that's fantastic. And if you're not happy, can you find something to be happy about in your unhappiness, in your unpleasant situation? Can you find a silver lining? Can you find something that isn't so bad? 'Cause I can. No. That was weird. Sorry guys. Okay, yeah, it's pretty early. I woke up 15 minutes ago. I was supposed to wake up at 5 because I've been waking up at 5 lately. But it was super cold this morning. It's getting cold again, guys. I'm so excited. It's probably been cold where you are, if you're either, I don't know, in the middle of America, in the east of America, or just in any country that's cold right now. But it takes a little longer to transition from summer to winter here in California. So now we are finally experiencing fall. I say this now, but watch next week be like 100 degrees. But I'm so happy. It's been cold. It feels so nice. It puts me in a good mood. But since it was cold, it kept me under my sheets. I went to sleep early. Maybe I got too much sleep, because you know what? I went to sleep early and I was like, yeah, because I got to wake up early. And usually when I go to sleep early, I wake up in the middle of the night and then I'm awake. So I woke up around like 2 a.m. To use the bathroom, but then I was like wide awake when I just easily got up and I was like, oh, I have to use the bathroom. And then I walked to the bathroom and then used the bathroom and I'm awake. But then when I went back to sleep, well, I stayed up for 2 more minutes and then I went back to sleep. So I guess I wasn't that awake. But I feel like that would happen less if I went to sleep later. I don't know. I have to find a good middle point. That's what I'm doing right now. Trying to find a good middle point. Maybe 11 o'clock. Because I wake up at 5 and then maybe if I go to sleep at 11 something, I'll be okay. But I think I had to have went to sleep earlier than 10 last night. But anyways, it's so funny I say that because I told my boss, like, yeah, I think I went to sleep earlier last night. She was like, oh, what time? Like 8? And I was like, silly woman. No, like 8. That is like, okay, that's too early. Like, I got stuff to do. Now I wish, but then no, I actually don't wish. If I was asleep at 8, I would definitely wake up in the middle of the night and then have to go back to sleep, because what the hell is there for me to do at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning like last night? But anyways, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. See, like, this is it's too early and I'm just like, what am I rambling? Anyways, wait, hold on. I'm super excited to tell you guys. If you've been keeping up to, like, if you listen regularly, the last 2 episodes, wait, was it no, not the last 2 episodes. Okay, well, the last 3 episodes. If you go back 3 episodes, the episode that I had my outbreak, not outbreak like I'm yelling into the podcast, but like I had like a complete, because if you don't listen to this podcast at all, I usually record this early in the morning. Like, again, look, it's 6 in the morning right now. So as per usual, I did that 3 episodes ago, but instead I woke up with my body covered with hives all over, and that has never happened to me in my entire life. And I was scratching everywhere. My skin was burning. I was freaking out. But I had to record the podcast. So I'm recording and I'm like, I don't know what's happening, guys. Like, I couldn't stop talking about it because I was like, what is happening? Like, this is the craziest thing ever. Or I was trying to talk about something else, but I literally could not focus because sitting in the seat hurt me, hurt my skin. I couldn't focus because I was just scratching and I needed to keep putting cream on myself. It was insane. Anyways, later that day, I had to bring myself to the hospital because it got progressively worse along with other symptoms. And I was in the hospital for hours, not for like number 4 hours, like for a lot of hours. Like, I went to the hospital maybe around, I don't know, I feel like I went to the hospital around like 2, and then I wasn't out of the hospital until 12 in the morning, like the next day. And it was pretty bad. I could have went into shock, and it was scary but interesting. And then the next few days after that, I was on a lot of medication to keep the reaction calm. And that medication put me in a super weird, like, depressive state, I guess. I don't know if it was depressive. It was more like unproductive, unmotivated, sluggish kind of feeling, but also kind of a depressive state. And then also, like, I don't know, my mind was going crazy. It was like it didn't let me regulate my mind or thoughts. Oh, by the way, if you hear like crunching noise, I just like gave Haku her toy thing back. Like, it's like a little tunnel. Look, watch, she's gonna run through it. Watch. Oh, she decided not to. It's like this little like crinkly tunnel that she like runs through. But yeah, that's her. So anyways, it put me in a really weird state. So then I was like anxious and depressed for like an entire week. And then I had to do the other episode, like the next episode. And then it was just me talking about how I've been going through that depressive state and like all this stuff I was realizing and just all this stuff. And that episode was like 100 an hour and like 20 minutes long. If you guys want to listen to that episode, go ahead. It's called Stress, Depression, Anxiety, or something like that, and how I ended up in the hospital. So that was the follow-up episode after I was in the hospital. And yeah, so it's been and then last week I did Happiness is Your Birthright. And it was just kind of an update on my self-healing journey. And this is a minor update on my self-healing journey. Because I went to the allergist, guys. So this was a thing, right? I had a very major allergic reaction. And this is what happened. They had to give me an EpiPen. I had to take like thousands of pills. Because I was having an allergic reaction to we don't know what, until I had to go to an allergist where they do a skin test to test what I'm allergic to. So I took the allergy test last Friday. In last week's episode, I mentioned, like, I have the allergy test today. I'm so excited to figure out what it is. And so I went, and they found absolutely nothing. The only thing they did find was I'm allergic to 2 types of tree pollen, very minorly, because I've never had a problem with pollen. Like, in the summer, in the spring, like, I'm not one of those people who are, like, sneezing and getting all crazy. Like, absolutely not. I feel like I've never had a problem with pollen whatsoever. But apparently I'm minorly allergic to 2 types of pollen, along with cows. For some reason, I'm allergic to cows. And mold spores. But all of these are very minor. Like, I should just stay away from it because I'll get itchy or I might get sneezy or something like that. But it's not like I'm gonna die from it. I didn't react crazy by anything whatsoever, except very minorly to those 4 things. Now, so the allergist comes to me and he's like, were you stressed on that day? And I've mentioned this in the podcast before too, and I laughed, and then I even laughed again, and I laughed, and I was like, I was, that's why I think it's so funny. And then he was like, yeah, it was probably, so that night that I had that outbreak, I got it in the middle of the night, because I was scratching all night, like literally all night. And before I went to sleep, a plant fell on my bed, and there were still like particles from the soil on the bed, and he said that there could have been mold in the soil, which there is mold in soil, because literally, like, last week I was gardening and I was using soil and there was mold in it, but it's like normal because it's like a living or organic substance. And then I looked up like ways to get rid of it or whatever. But yeah, so he said that there could be, since, there's moisture in soil, that mold can form. That absolutely makes sense. And I even saw it from my own eyes after he told me that. So, like, I don't doubt him now. Like, I never did, but, like, now I could see it for myself. So he said that I could have been having, like, a very, like, acute allergic reaction from, like, laying in the particles that were on my bed while I was sleeping, but also the stress could have added fuel to the fire. So I literally left with, like, this paper that said, on high stress days, like, take an Allegra. Like, I was diagnosed with stress, guys. This is insane. So, anyways, it's been a self-healing journey, just because, like, that literally happened. And that happened because I guess I wasn't listening. I don't even remember not listening. Like, I don't remember being told that I was stressed that I needed to take a break or anything like that. Like, I didn't feel stressed at all. That's why I never even contemplated. Like, he's like, have you been stressed? And I was like, yeah, well, I was like a little stressed that day, but like, it was like regular stress. Like, I stressed myself out for no reason, like for very minor things. But it's like a bunch of small things that like jumble up and overwhelm me. And then I feel like, what do I do? Like, kind of stressed. I feel weird saying stress. It's so weird. And then, so that's kind of like, it's like a normal thing for me. And that was like another thing that had happened. But I don't know. Anyways, since he had, before the skin test or whatever, he said that it could have been stress. And it made sense. I've been trying to do a lot of things less and do less things that stress me out, trying to make sure I don't get stressed out or just take care of my mental health, really. So it has been a self-healing journey, but I thought I would let you guys know that it was stress. I didn't really react to anything crazy. So I thought that would be interesting. So yes, self freaking care is a wonderful thing, and I'm glad you guys listen to this podcast, because this is something for your self-care, guys. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of your mental health, because it is a thing. Like, you may not think it like, oh, I'm okay, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, literally, that was me. Like, I was like, I'm fine. There's nothing happening in my life. I mean, like, but, like, there's very minor things that are happening in my life that I just, like, brush over, that they kind of annoy me and they bother me or, like, that. But I don't see it as anything crazy. So I'm like, yeah, I have a great life, whatever. I mean, I do have a great life. I'm not saying I don't have a great life, but, like, I'm overlooking things that are excuse me, oh my god, that are eventually, like, they're just sitting in my body and they're growing over time. So just take care of yourself, guys. So to get us started, today, just real quick, just to say why I want to do this. I've been mentioning it recently. Today we're going to be talking about Daoism, my favorite, and what it is, I guess, how I fell across Daoism, or the Tao Te Ching, and how it changed my life, and yeah, all of that stuff, all that good stuff. I'm gonna talk some good stuff from it. But I've been wanting to talk about this because as all of this first started, like when I first had the allergic reaction and I was kind of going in this weird, like, sluggish, depressive kind of state, a lot of things were calling to me. It was really weird. Like, even during the time of the allergic reaction, things were calling to me. It was really weird. So, not a lot of things, but specifically writing, it was kind of like throughout the whole time I kept saying to myself, like, I want to write. Like, I've been wanting to write. I really want to write. And that's even in the post that I posted on Instagram about what I've been going through with the medication, I wrote that, like, once I actually decided to start writing, because even before the allergic reaction, I was like, I really want to start writing again, like, writing, not like just writing a blog post once a week. Like, I haven't been putting my dedication into my writing, and that's where my true work lies. That's where I feel. So I was like, oh, I'm going to start writing. I'm going to do another zine. I'm planning on writing another ebook. I was like planning all this stuff. And then that happened where I ended up in the hospital and I couldn't really do anything because I was on this medication. This medication wasn't allowing me to do anything. My skin wasn't allowing me to do anything. And I felt like I was being forced down. Like, the universe had its hand on me and was like, you're not doing anything right now. Like, you need to calm down. And that was making me depressed because I feel like I'm a very proactive person now. I never thought that, never considered myself, I'm a proactive person, but I'm realizing it now because when I'm forced to not do anything physically, like actually take a break, it like runs through my head, like, of all the things I should be doing, all the things that I want to be doing, and I can't because I'm being forced down. So I feel like I'm very yang energy. That's very yang energy. I'm learning right now. I mentioned in my last podcast episode that I'm studying to be a yoga teacher, and I just enrolled myself in 200-hour course. So right now I'm learning about yin and yang energy, even though it's not Hinduism, that is, or like specifically yoga, because yoga stems from Hinduism or India specifically. Yin and yang is very much a Chinese philosophy, or it's just ancient Eastern philosophy, so I'm pretty sure India got a hold of that as well. But I have been learning about yin and energy, and then I've already like known about yin and yang energy, especially from the Tao. The Tao talks about yin and yang energy. Not very like specific, like this is yin, this is yang, like, but it does. It implements that. It implements the concept of yin and yang. And then, like, I already knew what it was beforehand, but it's more engraving in my head that I'm taking lessons now. So yin is very calm energy, like relaxing, stagnant, nurturing, grounding, very settling, right? And yang energy is very active energy, go-getter, kind of just fast-paced moving or action. All of that, right? So we all have both energies within us. The same thing as We have many different like types of energies, I guess you could say, within us, but that can be categorized differently depending on the teaching that you're learning or whatever it is. So that's kind of, it's like prana and apana. Those are two different types of energies that run through us, right? This is kundalini energy. Then there's yin and yang, but this is Chinese philosophy, right? Then there's the doshas in Ayurveda: kapha, pitta, vata, kapha, pitta. Those are three types of energy that like kind of flow through in us. So it's very different depending on what you're learning, who you're learning from, what kind of teachings, what traditions. But anyways, when we're talking about yin and yang, I'm more yang energy. I have that yin energy within me where I just want to, relax, especially when I do yoga. I have that in me, but I feel like most of the time I'm very yang energy. So anyways, things were calling to me, one being writing. So I have been writing more on my blog. If you'd like to follow my blog, it's thewritingsofnatalia.wordpress.com. I always write Mondays, but now I have been writing randomly in the middle of the week. I'll write on a Saturday, I'll write on a Sunday, or it'll be a Thursday, a Tuesday, whatever it is. Whenever I'm in the mood to write, I will write it on the blog. So that's what I've been doing more lately to implement writing in my life. I've also been trying to journal every day. But also that was calling to me was the Tao. And it was so funny because like I was thinking about it and it kept popping up in my head, quotes of the Tao, because I've listened to it so many times. I've read it so many times that a lot of the quotes are just engraved in my head. So that's why like a lot of the time in the podcast, I'll quote it. But the words just play in my head sometimes, like in silence, while I'm meditating, talking, walking, like literally it's just engraved in my head, in my sleep. So I was hearing it a lot during all of this. And, that's why I've been wanting to talk about it, because it's part of my self-healing journey. It's one of the major paths in my life. And it's beautiful. I love it so much. So anyways, to get into this episode, this is just what I wanted to share, why I'm going to be talking about this. And I'm very happy I'm going to be talking about this. But first, I did pull a card. Should I put an ad in here? I guess I'll put an ad right now. Okay, so I did pull a card. And I actually pulled two cards. So I pulled one card, and because I was half asleep, guys. I literally started this podcast episode 15 minutes after I woke up. Oh my gosh, Haku's being bad. Hold on. Get down. She likes to go on top of stuff and then knock them over. She'll be on my desk and then smack a pen off of the thing, or smack at the entire lamp off of the desk. I don't know. She's bad. But she's cute. Anyways. So yes, I freaking pulled a card. But again, I told you I started this podcast episode 15 minutes before I woke up. So I'm here half asleep shuffling these cards, and I'm okay, I'm not gonna get a good reading whatsoever. Should I even do a reading? But I decided to just pull from The Universe Has Your Back deck, because it is an affirmation deck, and I love giving you guys affirmations for the week. But it is also very much a card reading as well. So I pulled a card, and then it was odd, so then I just put it back. I was no, there's no way I'm telling this. It was okay, it's a good card, but I knew it wasn't the card I was supposed to be pulling. Obviously I'm not focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing. But it was something being my authentic self is sexy, or something like that. And I was just I'm sorry, I'm not in a sexy mood right now. I'm half asleep at 6 a.m. I'm not going to tell my listeners that their authentic self is sexy, even though it is sexy, guys. If you want to be sexy, be your authentic self. That's sexy. But so I put it back in the deck, and then I was okay, all right, I'm sorry. I know I'm not even paying attention. So I just shuffled even more, and then I pulled a card, and then I liked it. But then I was but if this is the wrong card, like definitely give me the right card. So then I like extra focused, and I was like, come on, universe, just like, I was like, this time I'm gonna shuffle it, and then you're gonna pull a card for me, because usually what I do is I shuffle it, cut the deck, and then the first card I pull, that is the card. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna shuffle this, and then a card is gonna fly out. That's gonna be the one that is definitely the card. If I don't get anything, then the one I pulled is good. But one did fly out, and it was very interesting. So anyways, the first card I pulled for you guys is, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. So I like this. And that's why when I pulled it, I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. Because I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. You always trust the direction of the universe. You know that whatever is happening is meant to be happening at that moment. You know whatever path you're on right now is the path you're supposed to be on. People always get disappointed in themselves where they don't like the position that they're in. And I completely understand. Like, we all need to understand that we are in complete control of our circumstances. Now, when I say complete control, I want to say, okay, like, you do have complete control, but then behind the curtain, you actually don't have complete control. So, okay, think of law of attraction and manifestation, right? You can absolutely create your reality, right? And you can be like, okay, I want to be rich. And then you can create that for yourself. You can actually become rich. But behind the curtain, it's like the universe already did that for you. So like, it's all engraven in the cosmos already. Like, any switch up you make, like, okay, right now, like, okay, this is what I do, right? I do the podcast, I like to write, I like to get stressed over a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do and then break out in hives and then I don't do anything, or whatever I identify myself as, or whatever. I like to read books. I work as a manager at a yoga studio, like all this stuff, right? That's how I am now. Right now I can drop it all and be like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna take all my money right now, take my cat, take my boyfriend, and move to a different country and live as nomads. And we'll be like traveling nomads. Like, we'll be walking. We'll be on foot, and then we'll build a little hut in the woods, and I'll have my Tao, and I'll be happy and content because I have a notebook and my cat and my boyfriend and the Tao. So I can do that, or I can change all my plans right now and become rich, right? Like, okay, well, maybe I'll become rich. Like, I'm not even, like, it could be a thing. Maybe I'm not rich. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. I used to. I was really creating that for myself. I wonder if, because I was putting so much work in creating that for myself, that it's actually gonna happen. I'm very curious. But anyways, so like, I can keep trying right now. So like, I drop everything and I just like, my vision board is full of like millionaire mindset stuff. Like, I am rich. I have money everywhere. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. I make thousands of dollars every day. I get millions of dollars in my paycheck. I get random checks in the mail addressed to me. Like, I have all this money coming in towards me, and I can do that, and I can become rich right now, guys. I can become rich right now. Well, not right now, but depending on the timeline that it takes for me to actually achieve it. So I can do all of these things, right? But whatever I decide to do, that is already written. It's not like I'm rewriting history. I'm not rewriting my destiny. My destiny is already written. But no matter what choice I make, it is written in there. So I can have the choice right now to leave and move and do that nomadic stuff. I can have the choice right now to become a millionaire. I can have the choice right now to, I don't want to kill my cat, but that, like, it's an example. Like, I'm not gonna do that whatsoever. I'm not thinking about that. I love her so much. I want to kiss her face, because I just only mentioned because she's staring at me and she's so cute. And then I could go into my roommate's room, and this sounds crazy, and like kill them, right? And then go to jail for being a murderer. I can make all these choices right now, and you would think like, okay, because I have all these choices, I am in complete control of my reality, right? I could do whatever I want. I could move right now. I could kill someone right now. I could kill myself right now. I could do whatever I want. I have all the freedom too. This is what we consider free will, right? But all of that is already written in the cosmos. No matter what I decide to do, it was written already before I even decided to do it. So that's where the complete control kind of dwindles, right? So I'm in complete control of my reality to an extent where it is not already written in the universe. So I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. No matter where I am, no matter what choice I make, it is already written. The universe already knows what is going to happen, what is meant for me. And I am supposed to be where I am in every moment. So if you're not happy with your position, change it if you want to. But no matter what, where you are is where you're supposed to be. And you have the complete option to change that. So I like that. I know. I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. If you are on the right path, you will get notices from the universe. You will get a notice on your door saying, "Hi, I'm the universe. You are on the right path." Trust me, I've gotten them before. So, the second card I pulled that I said, "Okay, you can fly out, and give me the real message." And it's funny because the card that flew out was, "Don't test me." No, I'm joking. Imagine the card said, "Don't test me." I would die. I'd be like, "Oh my God, Uni. Like, how did you make these cards?" Like, or it's just like my guru. Like, it's kind of like, Ram Dass. Ram Dass, he did all these meditations in the mountains, and he was, studying with Maharaji and all this stuff. And doing his yogas, his meditations, his japas. And then he goes to do a lecture, and he orders this like specific microphone because it hurts like when he sits or whatever, and it's more comfortable with that microphone. So anyways, he gets to the lecture and he sees a different microphone, and he suddenly like, it's like, "What is that? I asked for this microphone," and blah blah blah. And he's like, not getting upset, but he's kind of getting upset, and he feels himself getting upset inside a little bit as he's explaining, like, "Well, I ordered this microphone," and he just starts bursting out laughing because like he's really getting all worked up over like a microphone. And it's funny just to show, the simple things that we get upset over and we don't realize how ridiculous it actually is. So he starts laughing hysterically, and he's like, and this is after Neem Karoli Baba had passed away, his guru. And he starts laughing, and he's like, and he says, and he's talking about the story in a lecture. He says, "What I didn't realize was that my guru drag has a microphone." And he caught me out there, and he's laughing as he's saying this, and he's saying, he just sees him laughing and pointing at him like, "Gotcha. Like, you want to get upset over a microphone? You think you're so holy?" So, that's funny. It reminded me of that. But the card that I did pull was "Happiness is my birthright." The same card I pulled last week. Happiness is my birthright. And now I didn't pick this card. This card flew out while I was shuffling it as the second card. I specifically said, "Universe, pull a card out, like fly a card out, and that will be another card that I'll add on top of it." So the theme is still happiness is my birthright. You have the right to be happy. And if you want me to go more into details about happiness is my birthright, go back to last week's episode. Go back to the little card reading portion, which is usually in the forefront of the episode. And yeah, happiness is your birthright simply because you are happiness itself. You are everything in the universe. And since you are everything in the universe, that also includes happiness. So happiness is your birthright because you are that. Tat Vam Asi. This is Sanskrit for I am that. I am that. So, with that being said, let's get into this episode. Look, it's already 35 minutes in, and we haven't even started talking about the lovely Tao. Okay, so what is this Tao that I've been talking about? Have you guys been listening to me? I quote the Tao. I mention the Tao all the time. Maybe you've looked it up. Maybe you've heard me mention the Tao Te Ching or whatever, but you don't really know what it is, right? So what it is it's an ancient text. It is an ancient text along with a lot of other ancient texts like the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, what else? The Quran. This is an ancient text, but it is not a religion. It is a philosophy. It is, I guess, considered a religion now, but it wasn't meant to be created. It's literally Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu, he is an ancient Chinese philosopher or sage, and he was like a little nomad guy. He was just like this little sage that walked around China and gave all these wonderful philosophies as well as the Tao Te Ching. So where was I going with that? So yeah, it's not a religion. It was just some guy Lao Tzu, who spit this philosophy. He saw the nature of things and he said, this is the philosophy of the universe. He didn't say like, this is a religion, follow me. Like, it was nothing like that. He said, this is the philosophy of the universe, goodbye. And then he left. So that is what it is. And it's an ancient philosophical text. It's considered a religion, but it's absolutely not, because like people say, oh, I'm a Taoist, or I study Daoism, or you could go to a Taoist temple. So it sounds like religion, but it's very much a ancient philosophy. So the Tao Te Ching is basically like the Bible of Taoism. It's the most important text of Taoism. There are apparently thousands of Taoist texts, which I kind of did some extra research last night just so I can give you some good information. Apparently there's thousands of Taoist texts, which I'm pretty sure there's probably thousands of texts on Confucianism. So as well, Taoism is one of China's 3 major religions. I think right now they're not allowed to practice religion because it's communist or something, but because they took down so many temples in China. Like, literally, I mean, like, we're in America right now, so I'm allowed to say this. But if I was in China, I would not be allowed to say this, and it would not air whatsoever. But they took down many temples. They destroyed many temples. A lot of Buddhist temples, a lot of ancient Taoist temples. So it is one of China's 3 major religions or ancient religions, along with Buddhism and Confucianism. Now, Confucianism and Taoism very much are always like told about together for some reason. But Confucianism, if you don't know much about it, I remember when I learned about this in school, I was very interested. I was very interested in the religions for some reason. I was always interested in spirituality. So when it came to history class and we talked about world religions, I was always very interested, just because I was always interested in like spiritual practices. Now that I think about it, I'm saying this now and I'm like, wow, that's very interesting. I didn't realize that. But I remember when I was learning about Confucianism, it's very much... It majorly goes around filial piety, which is the respect for elders, no matter what. So I am not a person who advocates for filial piety, mainly because I say respect whoever respects you. If they're older than you and they don't respect you, then you have no right to respect them. And that's just how I feel. Maybe that's the 2020 mindset, but I feel as if, I mean, okay, I feel like you should respect everybody. It's not like, oh, if somebody doesn't respect you, then you don't have to respect them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't have to do like, so filial piety is like, okay, respect for your parents or your grandparents, your elders that watch over you, right? But to the point where if they're telling you what to do, or like they're like not being reasonable for some reason, or like, okay, let me think of an example. They're very strict, right? You can't do anything whatsoever. All they do is badmouth you, they talk trash on you, they're very mean and rude. Filial piety is, you would just be like, okay, yes, father, yes, mother, and then take on all of that. And that I cannot agree with, okay? And I'm not saying to disrespect them and smack them up and stuff. What I'm saying is that you don't have to take that. So anyways, that's what Confucianism is. It's mostly, and it's also based on a lot of rituals and a lot of rules, I guess, and kind of like a way of living in order to maintain peace within the land. So there's this story, I don't think this is real, but it's kind of like a metaphor, and it's China's 3 major leaders of these philosophies, right, or religions, supposedly. So we have Lao Tzu from the Tao, we have Confucius from Confucianism, and we have Buddha from Buddhism, and they're all sitting drinking tea, right? So first Confucius drinks tea, and he sees it, he tastes it, and he's like, oh, this is bitter, this is too bitter or whatever. I think if we do this and that, then it may taste a little sweeter or whatever. But it's the tea of life. So he sees it as bitter. He sees the world as in like unpeaceful, in distress, and only by doing these rituals and doing these certain practices can we maintain the peace, can we find that oneness, right? Buddha, he drinks the tea and he tastes it. He's like, oh, this is too bitter, right? He sees all the suffering in the world. That's the main teaching of Buddhism, right? Suffering exists. So he sees all the suffering and he says, in order to get rid of the suffering, we have to, do these certain practices, like the Eightfold Path, right speech, right action, right thought, right meditation, do no harm. So these are all like just how they see things and how to go about it. Now, Lao Tzu, he drinks the tea and he laughs. And he says, this tea is bitter, but it's bitter because it's bitter. It's sweet, it has sweet, and it has sweet because it's sweet. Now, he doesn't say that specifically, and I don't know the exact metaphor, but I know that Confucius and Buddha both saw the life as bitter and are trying to give us a method to find the peace, while Lao Tzu sees both the bitterness and the sweetness and only sees the tea as it is. So that was a little bit of that. But anyways, that was just kind of give you an idea of the China's 3 major religions or philosophies. So this is over 2,500 years old. Now, Lao Tzu, I read this story in a very random magazine that I found in like a Chinese supermarket, or I think it was like a Spanish supermarket. It was like a Spanish supermarket in a Chinese neighborhood, and they have like these flyers that you can take in the front or like by the registers or whatever, and it's like different booklets, like real estate booklets where you look at all these houses in the area. It's like a newsletter, the city newsletter or something. And then there was one called Meditation and Health. Now, I always love to take these because I always cut out stuff for vision boards, or I just read through it because there's really good content in these guys. It's like hidden spirituality. It's so weird. Well, not hidden spirituality, but it's like facts and lessons like hidden throughout the city, right, that you can actually find. So anyways, I read this story in one of these, like, randomly, and it was a story of, the main topic was color, and how different colors, like, signify different stuff. And when it came to purple, it was said that one time in China, the sky was purple for 3 days, and that signified a sage was going to pass by, or a sage was going to arrive. So on the last day of the purple sky, there was a, like, security person or something, like, standing in front of a bridge, and he saw an old man walking towards the bridge, getting ready to pass through the city. And he was this little old guy, and he looked very old but wise. And he said, "Oh, this must be the sage that has been coming." And that sage was Lao Tzu. Now, Lao Tzu was just passing through. But before he passed through, the security asked, "Please, give me some of your philosophy. What is your philosophy? Leave us with something." And he left the Tao Te Ching. So that is an old story. I don't know if that actually happened, but that'd be super cool if that did happen. So anyways, let's get into this. What is the Tao? What is the Tao? What is in this? What is in this ancient philosophical text that changed my life, right? So the main concept of the Tao is the way. Now, Tao means way. The not the kanji, because kanji is Japanese. The Chinese character for Tao is, the translation is way, path, right? So when we talk about the way, when we talk about the Tao, we are actually talking about the way of nature, the way of the universe, the natural flow of how things are, the flow of the universe. So the opening phrase of the Tao Te Ching. Oh, and I also mentioned last week, I kept wanting to quote the Tao, and I was like, I really need to buy a physical version of the Tao. I actually did buy a physical version of the Tao, and it is my favorite translation. I was literally so lucky to find it in, like, my bookstore, my favorite bookstore, the last bookstore. And it's like, I want to say my translation, but it's like the translation that first found me, and I hold dear to my heart. Like, this is what plays in my head, this exact translation, because there are many translations and versions of this book. Since he was Chinese, he freaking said it in Chinese, but people translated it very differently. Even though all of them have the same message, one version may not resonate with you while another will. So this is the first version I ever heard, and the first time I heard it, it resonated with me so much that it changed my life. So I was so lucky. And this was the only version that they had there, and it was the version that I found. So the opening phrase, and this is a very famous phrase, is, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Ever desireless, one can see the mystery. Ever desiring, one sees the manifestations. These two spring from the same source, but differ in name. This appears as darkness, darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery." Now that is the first verse. So when we say the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao, the name that can be named is not the eternal name, which means even when we speak of Tao, even when we call it Tao, we are putting a limit on what it is, because what it is the universe. It is God. And I say this all the time, that God, the universe, source, creation is incomprehensible. This is Brahman, the Hindu concept of Brahman, all consciousness, all pervading, the nothingness and everythingness. That is the Tao, the incomprehensible. So when we say the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao, the Tao that we are meaning to speak of, when we speak of it, we are not actually speaking of it, because when we speak of it, we are only speaking of the comprehensible. We are not actually talking about the incomprehensible. We can never comprehend it with our human minds. We can never actually speak of it. So That is the first phrase, to know that everything in this book that we are speaking of, we can only describe it. We cannot actually talk about it. It is impossible. So that is the beginning Tao. I thought of an idea of me doing like very minor, like very small episodes of like me just translating the Tao, like saying the version that I have, like the version that I've learned, and then translating it into a way where we can understand it. So when we're talking about the Tao, this is only the first verse. We are already talking about Brahman. We are already talking about the universe, right? So this is the source of reality. It is infinite yet empty. This is the absolute and non-absolute. It is nothing and everything. Now, a main theme that falls within these verses is the concept of Wu Wei. Now, this is a very main theme in the Tao, and I speak of Wu Wei very often. Now, Wu Wei is non-doing, non-action. In the Tao, it speaks many times of to do something, but don't actually do it. By doing nothing, you are achieving everything. Let me try to find a verse that I can... It's probably in the beginning, because I feel like since it's such a... Okay, so when we talk about yin and yang, just real quick, where we not talk about Wu, I just found it real quick. The second verse in the Tao, it says, difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short contrast each other. High and low rest upon each other. Voice and sound harmonize each other. Front and back follow one another. So he's naming these opposites, front and back, long and short, difficult and easy. But he's saying difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short contrast each other. High and low rest upon each other. So he's saying that these are two opposites, but they both fall with each other perfectly, like yin and yang. They flow within each other. Without having one, you cannot have the other. So also in the second verse, going back to Wu Wei, he says, therefore the sage goes about doing nothing, teaching, no talking. The 10,000 things rise and fall without cease, creating yet not possessing, working yet not taking credit. Work is done, then forgotten. Therefore, it lasts forever. If nothing is done, then all will be well. So this is the concept of Wu Wei, not taking action. So it's not actually about not doing anything, but it's about not going against the flow of nature. So not forcing, not swimming against the stream. This is acting without intent, without a certain outcome. So it's like you're doing but not expecting anything in return. So say you're trying to write a book, right? And you're working extra hard on this book, but you're expecting to get a really great outcome. And then when you don't get that great outcome, then you're upset or this or that, right? You could also tie this into Buddhism, right? Attachment. When we attach ourselves to the outcome of things, that's when suffering occurs. When that outcome doesn't come out the way we expect or the way we attached ourselves to, then we become imbalanced and we start to suffer and we become upset, etc., etc. So the sage goes about doing nothing, teaching, no talking. He who stands on tiptoes is not steady. He who strides cannot maintain the pace. He who makes a show is not enlightened. He who is self-righteous is not respected. He who boasts achieves nothing. He who brags will not endure. According to followers of the Tao, these are extra food and unnecessary luggage. They do not bring happiness. Therefore, followers of the Tao avoid them. This book is amazing, guys. I highly suggest the translation by Gaia Fu Fang and Jane English. I don't know if it's Gia Fu Fang, it's Gia, but I don't know if it's Chinese, it's Gaia, or I don't really know Chinese pronunciations. But Gaia Fu Fang, Feng, and Jane English. And then there's the introduction by Jacob Needleman. Now, the first version I ever heard was the audiobook, but it is this translation, and it is actually voiced by Jacob Needleman. And the way he voices the Tao, it sounds like he's the one who created it, like he wrote it. So the way he speaks, it's not like somebody just reading a book like you can actually resonate with it and you can understand it. Now, I have this audiobook. If you would like me to send you this audiobook, the audio file for this, I have it in a Google Drive. If you DM me on Instagram, my Instagram is Natalia of Earth, Natalia of Earth. I can send you the link to the drive to access this MP3 file. You can download it on your phone. You can just listen to it through the drive, whatever it is. But I will gladly share with you this version of the Tao. I love it so much. And it means the world to me. It literally means the world to me. Another famous ancient Taoist text is called the Chuang Tzu. And I actually never heard of it. I learned about it yesterday, but it's equally as popular apparently as the Tao, but maybe not because I've never heard of the Chuang Tzu. But apparently, so when you read the Tao, you're going to realize that it sounds like it's written to somebody who's meant to lead a land. So it's kind of like for a ruler. And I feel like he did write this for a ruler, but you can absolutely apply it. He's talking about the flow of nature, the flow of life, and how if you go against the flow of nature, the flow of life, and you don't let things go the way they're supposed to, then there will be tyranny in the country. There will be unrest. There will be unbalance. People will not be happy. There will be starvation. There will be poverty. There will be all of that, and basically everything that we're going through. Or as America, as the world, as the world, guys, as the world, because no country is perfect. Everybody's corrupt, and it only takes us. I mean, the Illuminati is very much a thing that is stopping the people from standing up to what is ours, because this world is ours, and they are a part of it, but they are ruling it like it's theirs. But it is ours. It's all of ours, and all of us need to step up. If we all have the Tao in our hearts, we can bring this entire world into balance. But anyways, the Chuang Tzu is more towards ordinary people. Now, I'm very interested. I learned about it yesterday. I'm very interested, and I very much want to read this text. But anyways, if you guys have read it, please let me know how it is. I'm very curious, and I will be looking for it very soon. So anyways, that was kind of a little look into the Tao. It was very funny because as I thought about it yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about the Tao today, or tomorrow, or whatever. And I didn't want to talk about it just because I feel like talking about it limits what it is. It really does. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. And what I love is that eternal Tao, that incomprehensibleness that I can't comprehend myself. But just talking about it feels like I'm downplaying it. So I didn't want to talk much about it. I just kind of wanted to give you an intro into what it is so you can hear a little bit of some of it, and you could be intrigued for yourself and listen for yourself, because honestly, you cannot learn anything from it until you hear it for yourself and you experience it for yourself. Now, before I end this, because we've already hit an hour, I just want to tell you real quick that how I came to know the Tao. So I had recently run away from home. This is a crazy story. I mentioned this very early in the podcast, like the first few episodes ever. I ran away from home back in 2017, and this was like my first time ever running away or anything crazy like that, but it was a major turning point in my life. And I made it a major turning point in my life because I was living this life, and then I couldn't do it anymore. It's like I was bearing it the whole time, and then I had like a breaking point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I left, and I decided to take control of my own life. So during that time that I had just left home, I was living with a family friend, and was not family friend, more like not like my entire family's friend, because then that would just be me staying with family. It was more like my friend, but like my mom knows her. She is basically like she's the mother of my nephew, but like not blood related. It's very interesting. But anyways, I know her very well. She's like family, very close. And I was staying with her in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is a place where I used to live many times, and I have a lot of history there. So I was staying in Scranton, and this is 2017, after I graduated high school, guys. And I worked at a pizzeria that I would walk to work every day because I didn't have a car, but it was very far. It was like I lived in the South Side, and the pizzeria that I worked at was in North Side. So I would walk all the way from South Side to North Side. And it was a little over an hour, or about an hour. Well, I had my skateboard too, but originally when I first started, because I don't think I brought my skateboard with me when I ran away. I eventually went back to New York to get my skateboard and then bring it back. Because Scranton is in Pennsylvania. It's only like 2 states away. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, basically. And I would visit New York to visit my family, because like after, like in the beginning I wasn't seeing my family, but then like I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be here a while, I might as well see my family. So I picked up some stuff, because I only brought like a suitcase of clothes, and I was living there. I lived there for almost a year, and I needed way more stuff than like a suitcase of clothes. I needed all my stuff. So anyways, as I was doing these hour walks to work, well, when I first started, I was like, man, I'm going to be walking for an hour. Let me download like an audiobook. And I mainly ran away on a spiritual quest, on a pilgrimage. So I was like, let me listen to an audiobook so I can be learning something as I am walking to work. So I typed in, I was doing like torrents at the time, so like I was on Pirate Bay, and I looked up just spiritual audiobook, and I think I got a whole collection of Osho lectures, which I downloaded. This was before I knew anything that happened with Osho or any history about him. I knew that he was a guru, and I really liked his teachings from videos that I saw, but I had no idea of his history or anything like that. So I downloaded a bunch of his audiobooks, or like it was like a collection of audiobooks, and then I downloaded the Tao Te Ching, and I didn't know what it was. It said like ancient Chinese philosophical text, and I looked it up, and it was like, this is a very important text of Daoism, and I was like, Daoism, I learned about that. But I thought it was like Shintoism, which is like about kamis and gods and nature spirits and like gods of the woods and forests, and that's Japanese. But I don't think I knew I knew that Daoism existed because I learned about it when I was learning about ancient world religions in school, but I don't think I knew what it was. So I listened to it, I think my first day walking to work, and the audiobook is about an hour, and the whole time that I'm walking and I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh my God, this is probably the best thing I have ever heard. It was resonating to me so deep at a level that I felt like I wrote it, that it was speaking what was in my soul. And I was like, yes, like, how did I not find this sooner? And I don't remember, but I could have practically cried listening to this, and I listened to it every single day walking. The first time I heard it walking to work, I was like, oh my God. And then once I got to work, this is my first day at work, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I listened to that. Like, I can't wait to get out of here and walk back home so I could listen to it again. And I was so amazed by it. I was so in awe of it. I was in love with it. And it changed my life, guys, because I listened to it every day. And I don't know. But I adore it so much. It is truest and deepest to my heart. So when I talk about my main spiritual practices, I always say my main spiritual practices are Taoism and probably now yoga or Hinduism, and some Buddhism. I guess Buddhism too. I guess you can say Buddhism as well, but mainly Taoism and mainly yogic philosophy or Hinduism at the moment. But it was so funny because when I first started finding Hinduism, I felt myself getting drawn away from Zen Buddhism, which is mostly the Buddhism sect that I'm interested in, Zen specifically, and Taoism, which remains deep true to my heart. So I was very hesitant to move towards Hinduism and learn more about it just because I felt myself being drawn away from my main teachings, my original teachings. But I absolutely fell in love with Hinduism because the devotion and dedication that I have to the universe and to the Tao expresses itself through bhakti yoga. And once I first came about learning about Hinduism and yoga, I learned of bhakti yoga, and that resonated with me as well on a very deep level, because even before I found out about it, I had this amount of devotion and dedication to God, to the universe. And bhakti yoga gave me a way to express that, and not only a way to express that, but a way to attain self-realization through that devotion. So anyways, those are my main spiritual practices, and I highly suggest you check out the Tao if you would like the audiobook. If you work at a place where you can listen to music, or you listen to podcasts or audiobooks, or even when you listen to this podcast, if you have time to listen to this podcast and you have time to listen to an audiobook, I have the audiobook, this version specifically. I think it is great. Please ask me for it. If not, if you don't have an Instagram, email me at, what email should I give you? worldofnatalia@aol.com. So world, like the world, of Natalia, Natalia, at AOL.com. If you email me there and say, hi, I would like a copy of the Tao Te Ching, the audiobook, I will gladly email you the link to the Google Drive where you can download it onto your phone, onto your computer, whatever it is, your MP3 player, if people still use those. Those are great. I always love listening to MP3 players or finding old ones, because then I can listen to the music that I used to listen to when I was younger. And yeah, so anyways, that was that. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode. I appreciate you so much. If you'd love to support me, please just listen to all my podcast episodes, or just engage in my content, oh my god, comment, share them, spread the knowledge, guys, spread the knowledge. I'm here to serve you. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me at any time. You can send me audio messages on Anchor, like in the description of this podcast episode. It automatically like puts a link in the description of like send a voice message through Anchor. You can do that, and then I could add them into the podcast, which is pretty cool. Maybe we could do a Q&A like that, but I don't think I have too many people on Anchor to do a whole Q&A like with audio messages. That'd be great though. If you guys send me a bunch of audio messages, like right now, if you just send me a bunch of audio messages, then we could do a Q&A. But if I don't get anything, I'm not going to do a Q&A. So let's see what happens. Send me something. You can always support me for 99 cents a month. That's $12 a year, guys, through Anchor, which is freaking awesome. It's like a monthly subscription for $1 to listen to my podcast. Like, you're just helping me out. You're helping me out by supporting. Look, guys, I'm excited to say this. I'm going to be dropping a bunch of merch. Not anytime soon, but I am in the middle of making it. I'm in the middle of ordering stuff to make, because I'm going to be selling in person in many places, and that is one of my main goals. And yeah, I'm going to be also selling this merch online. So yeah, by supporting the podcast, by even listening to the podcast, you're supporting the podcast. Or even if you don't want to listen to a specific episode, just mark it as played, guys. Mark it as played and you're supporting me, okay? yeah, anyways, but that will support the merch because that is what it goes into. Whatever I get goes right back into trying to support this business of helping you guys. So, anyways, thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram. Reach out to me. I love engaging with you guys. If you have any questions, again, feel free to ask. And yeah, I will talk to you next week. I hope you like this episode, and I hope you get to check it out for yourself. Have a wonderful week. Continue to drink water, eat healthy, take care of your mental health. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break every now and then. Give yourself some time to rest if you need it. And don't forget to love. Peace.